Hello, friend, and welcome to the Sleepy Meteorologist. Tonight, we are floating together through the quiet, beautiful world of clouds, those gentle wanderers of the sky. They drift high above us, ever changing, ever soft. Some wisp us through blue morning light. Others gather in dreamy flocks at sunset. Each one is a small mystery, carried by the wind. Maybe your day has been full. Maybe your thoughts are still swirling like leaves in a breeze. That is okay. This is your time now to slow down, soften, and let yourself be carried too. How is the sky looking where you are? Is it dusky and pink, quiet and grey? Maybe it is already tucked beneath stars. Wherever you are, the clouds are always above, keeping their patient watch. If these journeys help you drift a little easier, feel free to like or subscribe, but only if the mood feels gentle and right. For now, let yourself snuggle in. Loosen the weight from your shoulders. Let your breath move like a calm wind. There is nothing to chase, nowhere to be. Let us begin our drift into the sky. Let us begin at the very start. Before the sky wears its softest coats of white and grey, before any shape appears above the horizon, there is only air, invisible, quiet, full of potential. High above the earth, or sometimes just above the grass, the birth of a cloud begins with something you cannot even see. Water, vapor. It is always there, floating between tree branches, curled into sunbeams, resting gently on your breath. And like a secret waiting to be whispered, it rises. When the sun warms the ground, that warmth lifts. It stirs the surface, tickling the leaves and warming the rooftops. The air responds, rising softly, like a balloon let go. And with it, the vapor begins its gentle journey upward. As the air rises, it travels through layers of cooler and cooler sky. The higher it climbs, the more the warmth slips away. Slowly, almost dreamily, the vapor cools. And here, in this cooler air, something quiet and magical begins to happen. The vapor condenses, changing from invisible to visible, from gas to liquid, from mystery to form. Tiny droplets appear, so small you could fit thousands on the head of a pin. But together they gather. They hold hands in midair. They become something greater. A cloud is born. There is no rush, no sudden pop, just a slow, soft blooming, like breath fogging a window, like steam curling from a morning cup of tea. A newborn cloud does not yet have a name. It floats, finding shape, sculpted by the air around it. Sometimes this happens low, near mountaintops or coastal valleys, where mist clings and lingers like a memory. Other times, the cloud forms high above, catching the light and glowing with a pearly shimmer. All clouds, from the thinnest veil to the puffiest plume, begin this way, with warm air rising, with cooling, with condensation, with patience. And the sky, so endlessly vast, holds space for each one. You might picture the first wisps reaching out like the gentle strokes of a painter's brush, or perhaps a small tuft, solitary and soft, suspended against a pale blue canvas. In this moment of creation, there is quiet and wonder, and the feeling that something delicate has just been formed, not by hands, but by balance, temperature, pressure, humidity. These are the invisible ingredients, the lullabies of the atmosphere. When they are just right, the sky listens, and a cloud appears. Tonight, as you lie still and listen, imagine that rising air, the softness of change, the cool hush of elevation, the tender birth of something so gentle it drifts. Let your thoughts rise like vapor. Let them cool and soften. Let them gather into something light and lovely. This is how the sky begins to dream. When midday arrives and the sun is high in the sky, the air begins its quiet dance. The earth, now warmed by morning's light, hums with energy, and it is here, in these golden afternoon hours, that the cumulus clouds appear, the gentle giants of the sky. You have seen them before, soft cotton tufts, puffy and playful, scattered across the blue like floating islands of cream. They seem light enough to sit on, sturdy enough to hold dreams. But within their beauty, there is quiet science. Cumulus clouds form through a process called convection, a slow, rising motion of warm air. As the ground heats, it warms the air just above it. That air, now lighter than the cooler air around it, begins to rise. Higher and higher it climbs, carrying with it invisible water vapor. As it ascends, the air cools, and just like before, the vapor condenses into tiny droplets. A cloud is born, but this time the upward motion is stronger. The energy of the sun fuels this lift, and the cloud grows taller, wider, fuller. Cumulus clouds often look like the tops of cauliflower, their edges crisp and defined in the sun. They billow gently, always in motion, though we may not see it. Inside, currents rise and fall like breath within a chest. These are the calm architects of the afternoon, not threatening, not stormy, simply content to float and expand in slow, deliberate rhythms. Each one tells a story of the day's warmth and the sky's quiet response. Some stay small, gentle puffs that decorate the horizon. Others grow taller, their tops rounded and brilliant, their bases flat and shadowed. They never rush, they never push. They simply respond to sunlight, to warmth, to the slow choreography of air. Sometimes, as the sun begins to soften in the later hours, the cumulus clouds begin to fade. The warmth subsides, the lifting slows, and the clouds, like tired dancers, sink back into the sky, dissolving into memory. Tonight, picture those clouds, soft and slow, suspended in an endless sky. Feel their weightless drift, their midday calm. Imagine yourself floating through them, gently buoyed by the warmth of the world below. Let the steady rhythm of rising and resting lull you. Let the image of these quiet giants carry you toward rest. Like cumulus in the afternoon, you are held by something gentle and steady. You can rise and drift and settle. Now, let us drift downward, down beneath the tall, puffed clouds of midday, down into a gentler layer of sky. Here, close to the earth, we find the softest blankets in the atmosphere, the stratus clouds. These clouds do not tower, they do not billow or swell, they rest. Spread out in wide, quiet sheets, stratus clouds are like the sky's comforter, smooth, thick, and unhurried. They stretch from horizon to horizon in muted tones of soft grey, sometimes with a bluish hue, sometimes tinged with silver. They do not shout, they whisper. Stratus clouds form when a large layer of moist air gently lifts, often along the coast, over cool land, or during calm nights when air moves slowly and evenly. Instead of rising high in a sudden climb, the air ascends in a broad, shallow wave. And when it cools, a cloud unfolds, not just in one place, but across a whole region of sky. These clouds drape the heavens, no sharp edges, no dramatic shapes, just a quiet cover, like fog that rises to the treetops, like mist that forgets to lift. On days when the sky wears its stratus, the sunlight becomes shy, shadows disappear, colors soften, sounds seem more hushed. It is as if the world is speaking in a whisper. Overcast days, those calm grey afternoons, often come from stratus clouds. They do not bring storms or rumble with thunder. Instead, they bring stillness, a steady, even light, a lull in the rhythm of the weather. If they do offer rain, it comes not in bursts, but in a soft and constant drizzle, the kind that wraps around your shoulders, the kind that gently taps at the windows. Nothing urgent, nothing fierce. There is something soothing about a sky so evenly veiled. Stratus clouds encourage you to rest, to slow, to stay in or look out, to sip tea or curl up near a window, and simply watch the softness. And when night comes, these clouds often remain. The stars may hide, but their glow becomes a quiet blur, filtered through the soft fabric of the atmosphere. Moonlight becomes diffused, a gentle smudge on a sky that seems wrapped in wool. Tonight, imagine yourself beneath that sky. Let its quiet grey settle over your mind like a heavy, comforting quilt. Let thoughts slow. Let brightness dim. Let everything become softened, like light filtered through mist. You are wrapped now, just like the world beneath a blanket of stratus, calm, still, and held. Let yourself be overcast in the most peaceful way. Now we rise, higher still, past the warm thermals and rolling cumulus, past even the tallest clouds that climb into storms. We are reaching the ceiling of the sky, where air is thin, cold, and full of silence. And here, in this quiet upper realm, we find the cirrus clouds. They are the dreamers of the atmosphere, the scribes of the stratosphere. Cirrus clouds are made not of water droplets, but of ice crystals, fine and feathery, shaped by winds that never touch the ground. Their name means curl, and that is what they do. They curl, twist, and stretch in high, delicate streaks. You might see them trailing like horsetails, or brushed into the sky like paint on silk. They are often the first to arrive before a weather change, but never in a hurry. Just gentle messengers, floating many miles above the surface. To form cirrus clouds, moisture must reach those great heights, often through tall, rising air currents that bring vapor into the coldest parts of the sky. There, the water freezes instantly into tiny crystals that drift slowly with the jet stream, tracing the invisible highways of upper-level winds. Because they are so high, cirrus clouds often glow with light before sunrise and after sunset. The sun, still hidden from your view, reaches them first, painting them peach, rose, and gold, while the world below still lies in shadow. They are the first to greet the day, and the last to say goodnight. Cirrus clouds do not block the sun, they filter it. On a blue sky day, you might notice them like soft strokes across a bright canvas, not taking away the light, but adding texture, grace, movement. They are the poetry of the upper atmosphere, formed by ice and wind, but moving like thought and memory. Tonight, imagine floating that high, where the wind is quieter than breath and the stars begin to whisper. Feel yourself drifting among these icy threads, trailing your fingers through long silver wisps. The world below fades. The sky stretches on forever, and you, like a cirrus cloud, are light, drifting, gently caught in the rhythms of the upper air. Let your thoughts become airy and fine. Let your worries rise and freeze, becoming distant and delicate. You are floating at the edge of space now, and everything is feather-light. Close your eyes now, and feel the world grow smaller. We are no longer drifting high above the earth. Tonight, the sky has descended. The clouds have come close. We are walking in the fog. Fog is a cloud that has settled down, low enough to touch fields and rivers, rooftops and treetops. It wraps around hills and nestles into valleys. It blurs the edge of everything, in the softest possible way. Where most clouds float above us, fog surrounds us. It is intimate, quiet, and close. Fog forms when the air near the ground cools just enough for water vapor to condense into tiny droplets, the same process that births clouds in the sky. But here, it happens down among the grasses and stones. Often at night, or in the tender hours of early morning, the earth radiates its warmth away. The air, gently losing heat, reaches its dew point, and then the mist appears, not with a rush, but like a memory returning, like breath on glass, like a whisper you can almost remember. In the countryside, fog drapes across meadows and pastures, curling around fence posts and following the bends of sleepy rivers. In cities, it weaves through streetlights, turning them into golden halos. On mountaintops, it rises from the trees like steam from a great sleeping tea kettle. Everything becomes quieter in the fog. Sounds seem to soften, folding in on themselves. A footstep becomes a sigh. A bird call turns to echo. The world is hushed, as though even time is walking slower. There are many kinds of fog, some born from cool nights, some from warm seas. Radiation fog, which forms on calm, clear evenings. Advection fog, which drifts inland from coastal waters. Valley fog, which pools low between hills, never in a hurry to leave. Each with its own slow way of arriving. Each with its own way of making the world feel wrapped and held. And when sunlight begins to return, fog often does not vanish. It lifts, slowly, like a curtain rising on a quiet stage. The trees emerge first, then rooftops, then the distant hills, and finally the sky above, pale and shining. But for now, the fog is still here. Let your breath slow to match it. Feel your body soften into this low, clouded world. Let the mist settle around your shoulders. You are safe in this hush, surrounded by softness, held by cloud. Tonight, you walk not beneath the sky, but inside it. Come closer now. We are about to witness one of the gentlest transformations in the natural world. It does not flash or crackle. It does not boom or roar. It sighs. This is the dreamy dance of condensation, the soft, sacred moment when water vapor turns to droplet, when invisible becomes visible, when the air learns to rest. In the atmosphere, water is always on the move, rising, cooling, shifting. When warm air filled with moisture ascends and begins to cool, the invisible water vapor within it begins to slow down. The cooler the air becomes, the less vapor it can hold, and so the vapor transforms. From gas to liquid, from formless to formed, from floating to gently suspended. Tiny droplets appear, so small, so light, they remain drifting in place, caught in the breeze or stitched together as clouds. This is condensation, and it is everywhere, in fogs, in dew, in the mist of your breath on a cold morning. It is how clouds begin, how raindrops are born, how the sky expresses its softness. Every cloud, every misty veil, every droplet clinging to a blade of grass begins here, with this quiet shift in phase. The change is not dramatic. There is no fracture, no break, just a joining, a gathering, a settling of energy. You have seen it on windows, on cold drinks in the summer, on spiderwebs at dawn. You have seen it as breath in the winter air, a moment of yourself, becoming briefly visible. Condensation is delicate, but it holds great beauty. It is balance in motion, the atmosphere in perfect harmony. It reminds us that change need not be abrupt, that transformation can be soft, that even the invisible can become something you can hold, if only for a moment. In the clouds, this dance is constant. Tiny droplets form, merge, float. Some evaporate again, others linger. Together, they build softness into the sky, painting the air with layers of moisture, touchable only by light and wind. And in this moment, as you drift with me, you too can soften. Let your breath slow, as vapor does before becoming mist. Let your thoughts cool gently. Let your mind condense into stillness, not dense or heavy, but suspended, floating, like a droplet newly formed. There is magic in this tender science. There is peace in this dance, and there is room, always, for rest. Let us drift now to the middle heights, where the air is cooler and the light takes on a different quality. Here, not too high, not too low, live the altocumulus clouds, soft, rounded, and gently textured. Altocumulus clouds form a patchy quilt across the sky, often in rolls or waves. They resemble tiny pebbles scattered in the air, or ripples on a pond, stilled mid-motion. They do not tower like cumulus. They do not spread flat like stratus. Instead, they float in gently gathered pieces, clustered but not crowded, a flock of clouds resting mid-sky. These clouds are born from gentle pockets of rising air at middle altitudes, usually between 6,000 and 20,000 feet. Moisture gathers there, forming droplets that take on this unique, dappled pattern. Sometimes they appear in parallel lines. Other times, like a field of cotton drifting slowly overhead. You may notice the light change under altocumulus skies. Sunlight filters through in patches, broken, scattered, softened. The world below feels drowsy and serene, as though wrapped in the sky's pebbled blanket. Altocumulus clouds can be playful too. When the sun is low, they glow with subtle golds and purples. When winds aloft stir them, they shift shape in a slow, mesmerizing dance. Never chaotic, always calm. They are often companions of quiet mornings and thoughtful afternoons. You might look up and see them holding the dawn, or drifting in the warm hush before sunset. Sometimes they signal a change is coming, not urgently, just a gentle note in the air, a soft turning of the page in the weather's book. They may appear ahead of a warm front, or before a gentle rain, but most often they simply are, floating above in peaceful silence, not drawing attention, not asking anything of us. Tonight, as you settle into stillness, imagine yourself lying beneath an altocumulus sky. Feel the texture of the clouds above, uneven but harmonious. Let the broken sunlight of memory wash over you in waves. Let your thoughts take on that same soft spacing, patterned, rounded, calm. You are resting beneath a quilt, stitched not by hands, but by air and sky. Sleep now under their quiet patchwork. All is balanced, all is well. Now, we float toward the mountains, where the air flows like water over stone, lifting, dipping, rising again. And in these sculpted winds, a rare kind of cloud takes shape. Lenticular clouds, smooth, suspended, shaped like silver saucers or soft-edged lenses drifting in the sky. They do not move, even though the wind is rushing all around them. They hover, still and steady, balanced between upward lift and downward flow. Lenticular clouds form when stable, moist air flows over a mountain or ridge. As the air is pushed upward, it cools, condensing into cloud. Then, as it flows downward again, the cloud evaporates. But right at the crest of the wave, where the air lingers in its rise, a lenticular cloud can form. They appear like ships at anchor in the sky, sometimes stacked, one atop the other, a quiet fleet sailing on air. Other times, they stretch across the mountaintop like a soft hat, placed there by the wind itself. Pilots watch for these clouds because their presence signals powerful wave action in the atmosphere. But for us, down below, they are simply beautiful, elegant, serene, otherworldly. They do not drift, though the air around them races. They hold their place, balanced perfectly. There is comfort in their steadiness. They remind us that it is possible to find calm in the current, to be still, even when the world is moving. Tonight, imagine one above you, smooth-edged, glowing faintly in the twilight. Let its balance become your own. Let your breath slow to match the wind as it rises and falls, unseen but constant. Like a lenticular cloud, you are held by invisible rhythms, lifted, centered, still. Now we descend again, into a sky not bright, not clear, but calm and dim. The light is silvered. The air carries a hush. This is the realm of the nimbostratus cloud, the quiet rainbringer. Nimbostratus clouds are broad, grey sheets that stretch across the sky, like a worn blanket. They are not dramatic. They do not swirl or flash. They simply give, offering steady, gentle rain to the land below. These clouds form when moist air is lifted slowly and steadily over a large area, often by a warm front gliding over a cooler one. The lift is soft, continuous, like a tide rising in the sky. As the air cools, clouds form, thickening, deepening, darkening just slightly. And then the rain begins. Not in sudden bursts, but in a patient drizzle or light, constant shower. The kind of rain that taps on rooftops like fingers on a drum. The kind that makes puddles slowly grow and tree branches sigh. Nimbostratus clouds do not boast. They are the quiet workers of the atmosphere, building soft weather without flare. They blur the horizon, dim the daylight, wrap the world in a gentle grey. And though some call them gloomy, we know better. There is beauty in their steadiness, peace in their persistence. They bring the rain that nourishes, the hush that calms. Tonight, picture yourself beneath a nimbostratus sky. The air is cool but kind. Raindrops trace slow lines down windows. The world is slower here, softer. Let the rhythm of rainfall guide you to rest. Let the cloud above, wide, quiet, dependable, be your shelter. You are safe beneath the rain, bringers, and the night is long enough to hold you. As we continue our slow journey through the layers of sky, something unusual appears overhead. Not smooth, not flat, not shaped like puffs or wisps, but like pouches, like hanging bubbles, or the underbelly of some great sleeping creature. These are mammatus clouds, strange, beautiful, and softly surreal. Most clouds rise or billow upward. Mammatus clouds seem to do the opposite. They sink. They hang down in bulbous clusters, like the sky has grown soft pockets. Sometimes they stretch far across the horizon, a rippling quilt of dimples. Other times, they appear in scattered formations, a delicate texture carved into the undersides of larger clouds. They often form beneath anvil-shaped cumulonimbus clouds, the tall, towering ones associated with storms. But mammatus themselves are not dangerous. They are the result of turbulence, where sinking air carries ice crystals and moisture downward into the drier air below. It is this movement, sinking instead of rising, that causes their unusual shape. The clouds puff out beneath the main layer, like soft cotton turned inside out. Like the sky has paused to exhale through the bottom of a cloud. Though they can appear after intense weather, mammatus themselves are peaceful once formed, quiet, slow to fade. They linger in the golden hours after a storm, glowing with amber, violet, or silvery grey. To witness them is to see the atmosphere sculpted, shaped by hidden winds, like fingers pressing into clay. Tonight, Imagine lying beneath a mammoth sky. The sun is low. The clouds glow with impossible softness. There is no urgency, no sound but the whisper of fading wind. The pouches above you seem to sway, as if in a dream. Let yourself sink too. Sink into rest, into softness, into the slow rhythm of air reshaping itself. The sky has turned itself inside out, just for you to watch it float. Now we find something elusive. Not a cloud, not quite rain. Something in between. A phenomenon that appears and then disappears. This is virga, the ghost of rain. Have you ever looked into the distance and seen streaks falling from a cloud, but noticed the ground beneath it remained dry, as if the rain was vanishing mid-air? That is virga, rain or snow that begins to fall, but evaporates or sublimates before reaching the earth. It is a quiet event, invisible unless you know where to look. Long, wispy trails descend from clouds, thinning as they fall. The farther they travel, the more they fade, until there is nothing left but air. This happens when the air below the cloud is too dry. As the precipitation begins its descent, it passes through this dry layer and evaporates, returning to vapor before it ever touches the ground. It is rainfall in rehearsal, a goodbye never fully spoken. Virga is most often seen in arid regions where dry air waits below high clouds. It is a sky-born gesture, a brushstroke pulled back before it finishes, a whisper rather than a voice. And though it leaves no puddles and makes no sound on rooftops, virga cools the air as it falls and vanishes. It softens the atmosphere, bringing change in a breath rather than a downpour. Tonight, imagine you are drifting near one of these soft, falling trails. Watch the droplets form, fall, and dissolve, like dreams forgotten by morning. The streaks below the cloud fade into nothing, like smoke in reverse. Let this vision comfort you, the idea that not everything must arrive to be felt, that even what vanishes has beauty, that even rain can be gentle enough to disappear. You are held now in the arms of something fleeting, and that too is enough. High above, if you look closely, you might notice a pattern, not chaotic, not random, but aligned, like rows drawn across the sky. These are cloud streets, long lines of cumulus clouds, stretching in tidy rows, like pearls on a necklace, or stepping stones across the sky. They are formed when cold air moves over a warm surface, such as after a front passes, or over land warmed by morning sun. Rising air forms cumulus clouds, while the descending air between them keeps the sky clear, and so the clouds align into rows parallel to the wind direction. You could think of them as sky highways, visual tracings of air's movement. The wind organizes them, turns scattered clouds into structure. You can see the flow of the lower atmosphere, not as numbers or graphs, but as rows of drifting softness. Cloud streets often appear in winter or early spring, when conditions are just right. Sometimes they stretch for hundreds of miles, following coastlines or crossing open fields. From the ground, they feel close enough to follow with your eyes. From above, from space, they look like the sky writing its own sheet music. Each row is a phrase, each space between a pause. Tonight, picture those rows in your mind, line after line of clouds, drifting in order, peacefully directed by the wind. Let your breath follow their spacing. Let your thoughts settle into neat, gentle rows. You are part of the pattern now, drifting forward on invisible winds, aligned, balanced, at peace, far from city lights, out where the sky meets the open land in soft, uninterrupted stretches. Something rare happens. In the early morning hours over parts of remote northern Australia, particularly the Gulf of Carpentaria, the sky begins to roll. Not with thunder, not with storm, but with a smooth, endless cloud, coiled like a scroll. This is the morning glory cloud, a long, tube-shaped formation that can stretch hundreds of kilometers across the sky. It glides slowly above the land like a rolling breath, smooth-edged, gentle, serpentine, like the sky has curled itself into a scroll and begun to unfurl it just at the edge of dawn. This phenomenon is rare and deeply quiet. Morning glory clouds form when stable air is gently lifted by a solitary wave in the atmosphere. This wave travels ahead of a sea breeze front, creating the precise conditions for this extraordinary event. Moisture condenses in the lifted air, forming a long, rolling cloud. Then, as air sinks just behind it, the cloud vanishes, leaving a ribbon of softness moving through the sky. From the ground, it looks as if the sky is slowly tumbling. From the air, glider pilots chase it, riding the smooth lift along its length, surfing the calm rise that travels just beneath the wave. But to observe it from stillness is to see grace in motion. There is no chaos, no rush, only a sense of celestial flow, as though the sky is stretching after sleep. Often seen just after sunrise, the morning glory appears when the air is at its most delicate. The light is gold, the land is hushed, and this lone cloud moves steadily forward, carried by forces that do not stir the trees below. Tonight, imagine you are lying beneath this scroll of sky. You feel no wind, but you watch it pass, slowly, like thought. The cloud stretches from horizon to horizon, a single thread of movement pulled across the morning air. Let its slow roll guide your breath. Let its rarity remind you how quietly beauty can appear. You are part of the sky's secret this evening, and you are safe within its quiet unfolding. Clouds do not speak with words, but if you listen with your eyes, you will see they know the language of light. They wear it, they shape it, they pass it between them like soft conversation. At dawn, clouds often blush, touched first by the low golden light. Their edges turn rose, peach, then coral. It is a language of beginning, a first breath, the earth slowly waking beneath a watercolor sky. As the sun rises higher, the colors shift. Cumulus clouds glow brilliant white against deep blue. Thin cirrus clouds catch the sun and shine like threads of silk. Altostratus clouds filter the light, creating a pearly world of greys and silvers. Clouds do not just reflect light, they transform it. When storm clouds gather, they deepen in tone. Greys shift to bluish charcoal, sometimes tinged with green. A sky that once whispered now hums softly in deeper tones. Not to frighten, but to remind us that the atmosphere is full of moods, always changing, always expressing. And then, at twilight, the clouds speak once more. Sunset turns them gold, then crimson, then violet. Their shapes dissolve as light fades, and the sky becomes a soft reflection of the days passing. Even in moonlight, clouds glow. Thin cirrus clouds shimmer beside stars. Stratus clouds near the horizon catch the moon's pale silver and carry it across rooftops. Sometimes, if the air is just right, moonlight forms a halo, a ring of soft white around a quiet, watching moon. Tonight, imagine clouds speaking softly in color, not to dazzle, but to soothe. Let your mind follow the warm tones of dusk, the cool grays of night, the shimmer of starlight against gentle mist. Clouds are the sky's canvas, and light is its lullaby. You may have heard that clouds block the sun, but really, they hold it. They cradle sunlight. They scatter it. They soften it until it becomes something gentle enough to carry on your skin. Clouds interact with sunlight in delicate ways. When rays of sunlight pass through or reflect off cloud particles, they scatter, sending light in many directions. This scattering softens sharp shadows. It wraps the world in a glow that feels like dusk, even at midday. Some clouds, like thin cirrostratus, allow sunlight to filter through, creating halos, sundogs, or faint glowing rings. The light is not gone. It has simply taken on new form, shaped by ice crystals high above. Other clouds, like thick nimbostratus, scatter almost all the light, turning day into a calm, muted grey. But even then, the world is lit just differently, gently, indirectly, as if the sun is speaking from behind a curtain. Cumulus clouds reflect a great deal of sunlight, their tops glowing white under the sun, their bases darker like the shaded underside of a sail. These clouds cool the Earth, reflecting solar energy back into space. They are the sky's mirrors, tilted at soft angles. Clouds do not take the light away. They play with it. They turn brightness into texture. They shape shadows like brushstrokes. They allow the sun to whisper. Tonight, close your eyes and feel that softness. Picture the sunlight being held, diffused, swirled gently within a drifting cloud. Let that warmth find you. Let it wrap around you like a luminous breeze. You are not in darkness. You are in a quieter kind of light, and it will stay with you as you sleep. There is warmth in the sky, but not the kind you see. It is not the sun's golden touch or the shimmer of summer air. It is something quieter, something hidden. When water vapor condenses into cloud droplets, it releases what scientists call latent heat, a secret warmth that lives inside the transformation itself. It works like this. As water vapor rises and cools, it begins to condense, changing from gas to liquid, forming the tiny droplets that make up clouds. And in that gentle shift of state, energy is released, not in a flash or a blaze, but in a soft, almost imperceptible way. The warmth that was used to turn water into vapor is returned to the atmosphere. This energy becomes fuel for the sky. It helps air rise further. It builds tall clouds. It gives quiet power to winds and storms, though you would never feel it with your hand. It is the heat behind the softness, the sigh within the breath, a hidden fire that never burns but builds. You might imagine it as a soft glow, blooming silently within a cloud as it grows. It does not announce itself, but it is there, helping clouds to rise, keeping them buoyant, shaping the very architecture of the weather. In towering cumulus clouds, the release of latent heat helps them grow upward, pushing their tops into cauliflower peaks, and sometimes into great anvil shapes that stretch across the sky. Without this energy, clouds would drift, low and flat. With it, they ascend, graceful and strong. Even in smaller clouds, this heat is always part of the story, always unfolding invisibly, always gifting warmth to the atmosphere. Tonight, as you rest, think of this secret fire. It does not roar, it does not spark, it sighs, and that is enough. Let your breath rise like warm air. Let your body cool as the energy within you settles. And know that transformation, like condensation, brings light, even when you cannot see it. You are filled with your own quiet warmth, and it will carry you gently through the sky of sleep. Sometimes, above the tallest towers of cumulus clouds, something rare appears. A smooth cap, a gentle crown, a cloud above a cloud. This is a pileus cloud, a delicate veil that hovers like a halo, fleeting, thin, ethereal. Pileus clouds form when a strong updraft causes a cumulus cloud to rise quickly, pushing moist air ahead of it. That rising motion cools the air just enough for condensation to occur, and suddenly a smooth, laminar sheet forms above the main cloud. It happens fast, and it does not last long. But when it does, the effect is otherworldly. The Pileus seems to float, unmoving, while the cloud beneath it swells and pulses with upward energy. The cap sits quietly above, shaped like a lens or a soft bubble, slightly iridescent when the sun touches it just right. You might see hints of pearl, lilac, or green, a shimmer like mother of pearl, light scattered through ice crystals and fine droplets. The Pileus does not grow tall. It does not thunder. It simply appears, a breath above the main event, a symbol of balance, a meeting place of force and stillness. Tonight, picture one of these rare formations above you, floating just over the curve of a cumulus cloud. Let your thoughts be the rising cloud. Let your calm be the cap that forms in response. You are the harmony between uplift and stillness. You are the softness that forms when pressure meets peace. Let this cloud hover gently over your sleep, a halo of breath, a sign that all is in balance. Even machines leave traces in the sky. High above, where air is thin and temperatures fall far below freezing, airplanes pass quietly, and in their wake, contrails appear. Short for condensation trails, these clouds are born when warm, moist air from jet engines meets the frigid upper atmosphere. Water vapor condenses rapidly and sometimes even freezes, forming a thin line of cloud behind the aircraft, a signature in the sky. These clouds may look small from the ground, but they stretch for miles. Sometimes they disappear quickly, evaporating into blue. Other times, they linger, spreading and softening into broader veils that slowly blend with cirrus clouds. Contrails can reveal much about the sky above. If they vanish fast, the upper air is dry. If they persist, the air is moist, hinting at the possibility of changing weather. They are not random. They are messages, whispers written by engines, carried on jet streams. Contrails show us that we are part of the atmosphere, not separate from it. Even our travels leave soft traces in the air. Even machines can make clouds. Tonight, imagine drifting beside one of these lines in the sky, not as noise, not as speed, but as stillness in motion. See the trail form behind you, crisp and white, then slowly unravel into wisps. Let it remind you that everything, even what moves quickly, can leave something gentle behind. You are floating now, quiet as vapor, writing nothing but calm into the sky. The sky speaks softly, and clouds are its gentle language. They do not shout warnings or mark calendars. Instead, they shift, gather, or fade, offering quiet signals of what may come. When we learn to read clouds, we begin to see weather not as a surprise, but as a conversation. A tall cumulonimbus cloud, rising like a towering cathedral into the sky, often foretells afternoon thunderstorms. Its top flattens into an anvil shape, wide and smooth, signaling that warm air has risen high, cooled, and spread out against the ceiling of the atmosphere. Rain may follow, maybe lightning, but for now, it simply grows. Lowering stratus clouds suggest an approaching front, a slow, sweeping change. These clouds arrive with steady stillness, dimming the daylight and muting the colors of the world. Rain may come in time, but first there is quiet. Cirrus clouds, those delicate streaks high above, are often the first to arrive before a change in pressure. They glide in ahead of warm fronts, moving faster than they appear, drawn by the invisible currents of the jet stream. When they thicken, they are sometimes followed by altostratus, then rain bearing nimbostratus. A slow unfolding of layers, a soft prelude. Even the disappearance of clouds can signal something. When cumulus clouds shrink by afternoon, it means the air has stabilized. The weather is content to stay as it is, a blue sky, unbothered. And when the air is still and clouds hover low without urgency, we know the atmosphere is resting. No rush, no storm, just a pause in the ever-moving rhythm. Tonight, imagine lying beneath a slow-moving sky, learning to listen without sound. To see each cloud not as a thing, but as a thought, a suggestion, a sigh. You do not need to interpret it. Just know the sky is always watching, always whispering, and the clouds are its quiet messengers. They float, they drift, they look like air itself. But clouds, those gentle sky dwellers, are far heavier than they appear. A small cumulus cloud, puffy and white, can contain hundreds of thousands of kilograms of water. A single cloud might hold over 1 million pounds of droplets, all suspended silently in the air above your head. How can something so heavy appear so light? It begins with the size of the droplets, each one microscopically small. They are spaced far apart, too light to fall, carried on updrafts and thermal currents. Together, they add up, thousands upon thousands of tiny droplets, collectively holding a weight that would flatten buildings if it were solid. But the sky has its own balance. Upward motion in the atmosphere keeps these droplets suspended. Rising air cradles them, redistributes them, builds them into clouds. There is no strain, no creaking from the sky, just a seamless act of suspension, weight without burden. This is the paradox of clouds. They are heavy, yet gentle, massive, yet ephemeral. They remind us that weight can be quiet, that something vast does not have to be loud, that even great presence can feel like softness. Even towering storm clouds, which may contain billions of gallons of water, are balanced by invisible forces shaped by temperature, pressure, and flow. When those forces shift, the droplets grow larger, heavier, and fall as rain. But until that moment, the sky carries its burden with grace. Tonight, as you lie still, feel your own weight gently supported by the surface beneath you. You are like a cloud, full yet held, heavy yet floating. Let your thoughts scatter like droplets. Let the atmosphere within you find stillness. The sky has room for even the heaviest clouds, and you have room for rest. Now we turn toward the mountains, those ancient, unmoving giants. Where wind meets stone, something soft begins to form. When air flows toward a mountain, it cannot pass through. So it rises. And as the air rises, it cools. Moisture within it condenses, and clouds appear, as if the peaks are wrapping themselves in scarves of mist. These are orographic clouds, born from the meeting of moving air and immovable land. They gather along ridgelines, cascade over summits, and hug the slopes like veils. Sometimes they flow like waterfalls in reverse, rising instead of falling, curling back like breath against a window. These clouds are steady. They remain in place even as air flows through them, because the air keeps lifting and the cloud keeps forming. One side of the mountain births the cloud, the other side watches it drift away. In coastal ranges, fog banks roll in from the sea, rising over cliffs and folding into valleys. In higher mountains, lenticular clouds often accompany orographic flow, shaped by waves in the air, held still in motion. The mountain does not move, but the sky adjusts around it. There is something soothing in this image, that softness forms not in the absence of resistance, but because of it. Tonight, imagine a quiet ridge, a solitary peak, and the wind approaching. The air does not fight the mountain. It flows upward, gently, and from that rise, a cloud appears. Let this image stay with you as you settle. That even when you face something solid, you can still rise, still soften, still form something light and beautiful. You are the wind tonight, and you are the cloud, and the mountain does not stop you. High above, the sky becomes a sea, and sometimes the clouds begin to ripple. Like waves rolling across the surface of water, a rare and mesmerizing phenomenon unfolds. Kelvin Helmholtz waves. They form when two layers of air move past one another at different speeds, usually a faster layer of wind slipping over a slower one. Where these two meet, shear occurs, and the boundary between them can curl, much like wind over the surface of the ocean. If moisture is present, clouds form at this invisible border, and suddenly the sky becomes painted with soft crests and foamy peaks. Kelvin Helmholtz clouds appear in rows, like breaking waves caught mid-motion. Each wave curls delicately, almost mathematically. Perfect arcs, poised to tip, though they never do. The air dances in place, and the result is a ballet of wind, rhythm, and motion. They are fleeting, often gone in minutes. But to witness them is to glimpse fluid dynamics made visible, the same physics that stirs coffee in a cup, that shapes the edges of galaxies. And yet here it is soft, familiar, sky dressed as sea. You may see these clouds as a row of gentle curls on the horizon, especially near sunrise or sunset when their shape glows golden and translucent. They are not storm clouds. They are not loud. They are the sky's gesture of elegance. Tonight, imagine yourself floating beneath them, each curl a breath, each wave a thought gently unfurling. The wind does not fight itself here. It moves in harmony, one layer yielding to the next. Let your mind follow the motion, circular, smooth, rising and falling. You are at sea in the sky, and it is calm. The waves will carry you now into sleep. Let us drift inward now, not above or below, but inside. To enter a cloud is to leave behind the world of lines and edges. Everything softens, shapes fade. You are surrounded not by fog, but by a gentle absence of distance. Inside a cloud, the air is full of droplets, too small to see individually, too many to count. They scatter the light, turning brightness into diffuse glow. Colors mute, sounds muffle. The air feels close, still. Pilots say flying through clouds feels like being suspended in cotton. Hikers who climb into mist describe the silence as profound. And perhaps you have walked through a low cloud before, on a foggy morning, or beside a mountaintop lake, and felt the hush settle over everything. Inside the cloud, nothing rushes. There is no direction, only suspension. No noise, only presence. There are no sharp lines in here, no corners, no bright boundaries. Just moisture and softness, and a sense of being held. Inside a cloud, time feels slower, like a deep breath that stretches into stillness. And so tonight, we go there together, into the heart of the cloud. Let your senses quiet. Let your thoughts lose shape. Float in the space between droplets, where light becomes glow and sound becomes hush. You are not lost. You are simply surrounded, wrapped in stillness, safe in softness. And the cloud carries you deeper into rest. Now we meet the giants, the tallest clouds in the sky, great, majestic towers that reach from the Earth's surface into the very edge of the stratosphere. These are the cumulonimbus clouds, rising tens of thousands of feet, They are sculpted by energy and shaped by invisible forces. And yet, even here, we can approach with gentleness. These clouds are born from warmth, warm, moist air that rises swiftly through the atmosphere. As it ascends, it cools, condenses, and releases latent heat, fueling the climb, upward, higher, until the cloud becomes a cathedral in the sky. Their tops often spread out flat, forming anvils, wide, smooth canopies that drift outward with the winds above. Inside, strong updrafts and downdrafts cycle like breath, building rain, shaping hail, sometimes lightning. But from a distance, they are dreamlike. A single cumulonimbus cloud can seem like a mountain, vast, layered, sculpted in light and shadow. Its contours change by the moment, glowing in sunbeams, darkening in dusk. They are dreamers, clouds that reach for the very limits of the sky. Though associated with thunderstorms, tonight we meet them in their stillness, before the first raindrop, before the wind, in the moment of upward motion, pure, vertical grace. Let yourself float upward now, tracing the path of rising air, past layers of billowing cotton, into the vaulted arches of cloud. You are safe in this dream of ascent. You are part of the tower, climbing without effort, expanding with breath. And when you reach the top, where air no longer rises, you rest, like the anvil crown of the cumulonimbus, wide, calm, watching. Even the most powerful clouds begin with warmth and rise with quiet strength. Let this strength cradle you now. You are the dreamer in the sky. Even from a distance, clouds touch the world, not with rain, not with wind, but with light and shadow. As the sun travels through the sky, clouds drift between it and the ground, and with them come moving shadows, soft and shifting, dancing gently across fields, hills, rooftops, and seas. These are not harsh shadows. They do not cut or press. They glide, they dapple. They turn light into something dynamic, a living pattern that ebbs and flows. When a single cumulus cloud passes overhead, it casts a soft grey shape that cools the earth for just a moment. You may feel the difference on your skin, a brief hush in the warmth, like the sky has blinked. Then, light returns, slowly, golden and warm once again. Over open landscapes, clouds trail their shadows like silk. You can watch them stretch across the plains, crawl up the sides of mountains, or swim across the sea. From above, from the window of an airplane, they appear as brushstrokes moving across the Earth's surface, a painting that paints itself in real time. These shadows help regulate the temperature below. They cool the soil, slow the evaporation of water, give relief to animals and people alike. They are part of the balance, always subtle, always quiet. Even large layered clouds, like stratus, paint the earth in a silvery light, casting not individual shadows, but an even dimness that softens the day. A kind of hush that spreads across entire towns, turning everything gentle. Tonight, imagine you are lying in a field of tall grass. Above you, the clouds are slowly moving, and their shadows sweep across your body like the hands of the sky. There is no urgency in their motion, just a rhythm. Let that rhythm guide your breath. Let the shadow come and go. Let the light shift and return. You are beneath a sky that paints the world, and you are part of its canvas. Every cloud has a story, a beginning, a middle, an end. They are not permanent, though they seem timeless. They are alive in their own quiet way, shaped by breath, by warmth, by motion. It begins with vapor, invisible, weightless, rising from oceans, rivers, forests, and breath. Lifted by sunlight and warmed earth, the vapor ascends, and when it rises high enough, it cools, and when it cools, it condenses. Tiny droplets form, too small to fall, too many to see. They gather in the air, catching light, becoming visible, and the cloud is born. At first, it is small, a soft puff, or a veil stretched across the sky. But if the air continues to rise, the cloud grows. Fed by lift, it builds in height or spreads across the sky, sculpted by wind and layered by pressure. Sometimes the droplets join together, becoming larger, heavier. They fall as rain or drift down as snow. The cloud releases its water, and in doing so, it begins to fade. Other times, the air around it warms or dries, and the droplets evaporate, returning to vapor, invisible again, but not gone, just part of a larger rhythm. Clouds are in constant motion. Even while they rest above us, they are forming, changing, dissolving, from vapor to droplet to vapor again. A cycle, a breath, a sky-born story. Tonight, think of a single cloud. See its birth in warm morning light, its growth by midday, its soft unraveling at dusk. Let yourself follow that journey. Let each thought rise, take shape, then drift away. You are part of the same rhythm, always forming, always flowing, always at peace with each phase of becoming. Along the coastline, where sea meets land, the ocean sometimes exhales. It breathes out cool, moist air, and with it comes the marine layer, a soft blanket of cloud that rolls inland, slow and low. These are stratus clouds formed just above the surface, often in the early morning or evening hours. They appear as fog near the shore, or as a low grey ceiling that hugs the coast and moves gently with the breeze. The process begins offshore, where cold ocean currents cool the air just above the water. That cool air becomes saturated with moisture, forming a shallow cloud. As winds carry it inland, the cloud drapes itself across beaches, cliffs, and quiet towns. Sometimes it climbs up hillsides like a tide. Sometimes it rests just above the sea, waiting for the sun to stir it. The marine layer brings cooler temperatures, soft light, and a sense of hush. It mutes the day, as if the world is wrapped in the breath of the deep. This is not stormy cloud. This is resting cloud, gentle, slow-moving, and protective. In some places, this layer is known as June gloom, but gloom is the wrong word. This is comfort. This is calm. This is the ocean breathing over the land. As the sun climbs higher, the marine layer often fades, pulled back to sea or warmed into air. But before it vanishes, it leaves behind dew on grasses, coolness in the breeze, and a moment of perfect stillness. Tonight, imagine that hush, the cool breath of ocean wrapping around your shoulders. The sky low and silver, the world softened. Let the marine layer settle into your thoughts. Let it bring the silence of waves and the comfort of clouds. You are resting now at the edge of the sea, wrapped in its breath. Every cloud begins with something impossibly small, not moisture alone, but a particle, a speck, a seed. All around us, in every breath of air, tiny particles drift, known as aerosols. They come from many places: salt lifted from ocean spray, dust carried from desert winds, ash from forest fires, even pollen from trees, or soot from a distant flame. These particles are invisible whispers of the earth, so small they move with the wind, and yet they hold the power to help build something vast and visible: clouds. When moist air rises and cools, water vapor needs a surface on which to condense. It cannot become a droplet from nothing. It needs a starting place. So it finds an aerosol. It wraps itself around the particle. One molecule at a time, it begins to gather. And from that smallest seed, a a cloud begins. The droplet grows, joins others, forms clusters. Together, millions of these suspended droplets create what we recognize as cloud, soft, glowing, ever-changing. The more aerosols in the air, the more seeds there are. And that changes the cloud, sometimes making it more reflective, or giving it a finer texture. The earth breathes out these tiny messengers, and the sky responds. Even volcanic eruptions send ash high into the atmosphere, where it can seed clouds and paint sunsets for months with the way it scatters light. It is a quiet collaboration, earth and sky, stone and vapor, dust and light. Tonight, picture the tiniest particle floating unseen. Feel the moment when moisture gathers around it and becomes visible. Let that be your thought. That great softness begins with something small. You too are made of moments, and tonight you gather peace around them. When the sun sinks below the horizon, the sky does not go quiet. It simply changes tone, and clouds remain. By night, clouds become something new, no longer brushed in gold, but in silver. Moonlight finds them, and the whole sky exhales. Some nights, high cirrus clouds catch the moonlight, glowing faintly, thin and gossamer, like threads spun by moonbeams. Other nights, thick stratus clouds blanket the sky, turning the night soft and silver grey. You may see a halo, a quiet ring of light surrounding the moon, formed by ice crystals high in the sky. The light bends and scatters, painting a circle of glow in the darkness. Sometimes, the moon slips behind clouds entirely, and the light becomes a suggestion, blurred, hidden, but always present. The world below darkens, the stars retreat, and the sky becomes a room with the lights turned low. Noctilucent clouds, seen only in the deepest twilight near the poles, shimmer in the highest reaches of the atmosphere, like breath on glass at the edge of space. They reflect the last remnants of sunlight, glowing even after the day has ended. But even the most ordinary night cloud can transform a landscape, turning city lights into soft auroras, wrapping forests in stillness, or casting a quiet veil over sleeping waters. Tonight, imagine yourself walking beneath a night sky veiled in clouds. The moon above glows behind its curtain. You are bathed in its hush. Silver rests on your skin. Let the world dim. Let the clouds soften your dreams. Let the moonlight wrap itself around you, like a lullaby made of light. There is no need to see clearly. You are held in the gentle mystery of night. Before the first drop touches the ground, before the rain begins to fall, there is a sound so faint it can only be heard inside the cloud. It is the sound of coalescence. Rain begins with droplets, each one small, suspended, weightless. As they drift within the cloud, they meet, they merge. Two become one. One becomes many. Tiny collisions, soft touches, gathering into something heavier. Inside the cloud, this process is constant, a hidden choreography of droplets moving through air, drawn together by gravity and the electric subtlety of surface tension. It does not roar, it does not ring, it hushes. Imagine the faintest tapping, a whisper of water meeting water, like fingertips brushing silk, like the distant rustle of leaves before dawn. As droplets grow, they begin to fall within the cloud, not yet reaching the earth, but moving through layers of mist, collecting more along the way. Their path is slow, gentle. It is a descent without haste, only when they grow large enough, only when the air can no longer hold them, do they leave the cloud, and then the rain begins. But inside, within the heart of the cloud, the the story is quieter, a gathering, a wait, a moment of readiness. Tonight, listen not for the rain on the roof, but for the rain before the rain, the silence of becoming, the hush of forming. Let your breath become a droplet, suspended. Let your thoughts merge, settle, and drift downward. There is no rush, only rhythm, only the soft sound of cloud becoming rain. And as you sleep, you too will gather your dreams and let them fall gently into rest. High within the coldest layers of the atmosphere, where clouds drift like breath above winter fields, something quiet begins to form. A snowflake. Not yet the kind that lands on mittens or disappears on warm skin, but a crystal suspended in air, born from a droplet that has frozen, shaped by the laws of temperature, motion, and beauty. Snowflakes form in clouds where the air is freezing, but not too dry. Tiny ice crystals gather water vapor from the air, not through contact, but through a process called deposition. The vapor transforms directly into ice, skipping the liquid phase. And as it grows, a shape begins to emerge, always six-sided, always symmetrical, but never the same. Each snowflake is a record of its journey, a frozen map of the temperature and humidity it passed through on its way down. Warmer layers shape broad arms. Colder air etches fine branches. Each twist and turn in the sky leaves its mark. And so, no two snowflakes are identical, because no two paths through the cloud are the same. From afar, a snowstorm looks like softness falling from the sky. But inside the cloud, millions of tiny hexagonal marvels are being formed. Crystalline, mathematical, silent. Snowflakes fall slowly, only about 1 to 5 miles per hour, drifting, dancing, sometimes colliding and joining others in midair. Some grow large and lacy, others stay small and dense. But all of them begin with a single speck, an aerosol, a grain of dust, a seed of possibility. Tonight, imagine yourself inside that high, frozen cloud, surrounded by delicate, forming snowflakes, each one turning slowly as it grows. The air is hushed, the light is pale, and you are floating through symmetry made of silence. Let yourself crystallize into stillness. Let your thoughts branch gently, beautifully, until all that is left is calm. You are part of the pattern now. You are drifting into sleep with snow. Not all rain is slow and soft. Sometimes a cloud lets go all at once. This is a cloudburst, a sudden release of rain from a tall, water-heavy cloud, often a cumulonimbus. These clouds can hold enormous volumes of water, suspended high above the earth, held aloft by warm rising air. But when the balance shifts, when the droplets become too large, when the updrafts weaken, the cloud releases, and rain falls, not in a drizzle or a trickle, but in a downpour. The sound can be startling, a curtain of water rushing toward the earth, drenching streets and soil in minutes. But in the sky, it begins quietly. Up high, inside the cloud, droplets coalesce, joining, swelling, pulled downward by gravity. And then, with a soft collapse of resistance, they fall. A cloudburst does not last long. Minutes, sometimes less. But it is concentrated, focused, like a sigh that has been held in and finally exhaled. It happens most often in warm, humid conditions, in summer afternoons or monsoon seasons, when the air is heavy with potential. A cloud gathers and then unfolds. There may be no wind, no thunder, no lightning, just water, sudden, complete, cleansing. Tonight, imagine that moment, a towering cloud, quiet above, gathering for hours, then releasing in one deep breath. Let yourself release too. Let go of what you have held today, drop by drop. You do not need to hold everything. Let the weight fall. Let the rain come. And know that afterward comes calm. There is a stillness that follows weather. After the clouds have gathered, after the wind has swelled, and the rain has poured, there comes a pause. The calm after the storm. It is the sky exhaling. You can feel it in the air, clearer, cooler, washed clean. You can see it in the clouds, parting slowly, drifting apart, revealing light in soft streaks. You can hear it, not in thunder or rain, but in silence, or perhaps in birdsong, returning gently to the trees. Storm clouds, once heavy and roiling, retreat to the distance, becoming shadows on the horizon. Their edges soften, their voice fades, and in their place, light begins to return. Sunbeams break through the ragged clouds. Drops of water glisten on leaves and windows. The world breathes again. This is not the cheer of bright blue skies. This is not celebration. It is something more tender, a return to balance, a quiet restoration. The atmosphere reorganizes itself. Air pressure settles. Moisture lingers in the soil and in the air, a scent of rain, of renewal. Tonight, imagine yourself walking into that clearing sky. The storm is behind you. The wind is gone. The only sound is the drip of leaves and the soft shifting of air. There is nothing to do. No story left to follow. Only the aftermath. Peaceful, present, and complete. Let this be your weather tonight. A quiet after. A gentle stillness. You have passed through the storm, and now you rest. Some afternoons, just above the horizon, when sunlight passes at a certain angle, the sky begins to shimmer, not with gold or crimson, but with pearls, pale green, soft pink, powdery violet, as if the clouds themselves are blushing. This is cloud iridescence, a delicate play of light, hidden in plain sight. It happens in young or thin clouds, especially altocumulus, cirrocumulus, or lenticular formations, clouds with very tiny droplets, all similar in size. When sunlight passes through them, the droplets diffract the light, bending and scattering it just so. And from this soft scattering, colours emerge. Unlike rainbows, which follow a bold arc, iridescent clouds are subtle. Their colours shift and pulse, like the sheen on a soap bubble, or the surface of a pearl, fleeting, gentle, never loud. The phenomenon is best seen when the sun is just behind a cloud, the brightness dimmed, the angles just right. You might notice a glowing fringe of mint and rose around the cloud's edge, or a pale halo, iridescent and dreamlike. It is the sky's quiet jewelry. Cloud iridescence tells us about the air, that the droplets are uniform, that the cloud is new, forming, delicate. And it reminds us that beauty often comes from balance, from harmony in size, in angle, in timing. Tonight, imagine those pearly colours stretched across a high cloud. Let the sky shimmer softly behind your eyes. Let the colours change with each breath, pastel, soothing, evanescent. You do not need to hold them. They are not meant to last, only to drift across your thoughts and fade into peace. Far to the north, or deep in the southern sky, where the air is cold beyond imagining, something rare takes shape. Above the frozen lands, in the stratosphere where the sun barely rises, nacreous clouds appear, also called polar stratospheric clouds. They form in the dead of winter, at altitudes higher than most clouds, up to 80,000 feet, where the air is dry, thin, and silent. And yet, even there, clouds can form. Made of tiny ice crystals, nacreous clouds shimmer with colour, not the warm pastels of afternoon iridescence, but colder hues, metallic pinks, bright blues, sea greens. Their texture is wavy, like scales on a fish or oil on cold water. They ripple across the polar twilight, glowing even after sunset. Their name, Nacreus, means mother of pearl, and truly, they look like something precious, soft yet brilliant, fragile yet eternal. These clouds form only when the stratosphere cools below -80 degrees Celsius. Their ice crystals then diffract light from the low sun, creating unearthly luminescence in the sky's upper realms. Scientists study them for the chemistry they reveal. Their crystals play a role in reactions that affect the ozone layer. But to the dreamer, they are simply sky magic. Tonight, imagine you are standing under the polar sky. The air is still. The stars have not yet risen. And overhead, a slow moving river of shimmering nacre flows across the horizon. Let its colours fold into your breath. Let the ice above the earth cool your mind. You are standing at the edge of the world, and the sky is writing poetry in colour. Higher than any other cloud, floating near the edge of space, are the noctilucent clouds, the sky's most mysterious light. They live in the mesosphere, more than 80 kilometers above the ground, where the atmosphere thins into near vacuum, and the cold is deeper than -120 degrees Celsius. Too high to be touched by day, these clouds appear after sunset, when the Earth has turned its face from the sun. But the clouds, so high, are still kissed by its rays. They glow in electric blue, silvery white, sometimes tinged with gold. They ripple like silk against a darkening sky. Noctilucent means night shining, and that is exactly what they do. They form in summer in the high latitudes when moisture and dust, perhaps from meteors, meet the upper chill of the mesosphere. These ice crystals, rare and fine, scatter sunlight long after the sun has set. They shimmer quietly at the edge of sight. Unlike lower clouds, noctilucent clouds do not move with weather. They float in a place beyond storms, a realm where silence reigns, above wind, above weather. To see them is to witness the breath of the upper atmosphere, to feel the sky dreaming in colours you almost cannot believe are real. Tonight, lie back. Imagine yourself weightless, drifting higher and higher until you are just beneath those shining threads of cloud. Let their shimmer become your stillness. Let their pale blue light cool your thoughts. You are resting in the highest hush, at the edge of Earth's breath, where night still remembers sunlight. Water moves, always, across oceans, through rivers, in the breath of trees and the warmth of your skin. And every cloud is a keeper of that movement, a soft-bodied memory, drifting above the world. The droplets that form a cloud have already lived many lives. They have evaporated from a sunlit sea, risen from the surface of a lake, exhaled from the lungs of an animal, lifted from the surface of a leaf after morning dew. They have danced in wind, curled into mist, hidden in vapor. They have traveled great distances, carried in the invisible breath of the world. And when conditions are just right, when the air cools and vapor condenses, those particles gather once again. They become visible. A cloud appears. Each one holds the history of water, not as a story written down, but as a shape suspended in time. Inside the cloud, you might find water once held in a glacier, or mist that once hovered over a rainforest, or perhaps moisture that rose from your own skin on a summer afternoon. Clouds are made of memory made visible, and the water never ends. It simply moves, rises, forms, falls, flows, again and again. A cycle, a rhythm, a breath. Tonight, imagine drifting with the vapor. Feel yourself become mist, light, unburdened. You rise into the air, lifted gently by warmth, joining others who have come from sea, stream, breath, and rain. Together, you form a cloud, and for a moment, you remember where you have been. Let your own memories float like this, not fixed, not heavy, just drifting, part of a larger rhythm. You are held now in a sky of remembrance, a sky that knows every place you have been. When the rain falls gently and the sun peeks through the clearing clouds, something luminous appears, a rainbow, a soft arc of light stretched across the sky where cloud and sunlight meet. Rainbows are born from collaboration, sunlight entering a droplet, bending and bouncing, then emerging again, scattered into colours. Each droplet becomes a tiny prism, and together, millions of droplets create the banded arc we see. Not one rainbow really, but countless ones, layered and layered, each reflected back to your eyes. The cloud provides the mist, fine droplets suspended in air. The sun provides the angle, low, golden, reaching sideways into the sky. And the result is a colour you cannot quite touch, but always feel. The outer edge begins with red, then orange, then golden yellow, into fresh green, cool blue, and finally deep violet at the inside. Sometimes you will see a double rainbow, the second one fainter, colours reversed, an echo of the first, born from light bouncing again inside the droplet. Rainbows are always opposite the sun, a circle of light centred on your own shadow. And though they seem far away, they are always tied to your viewpoint, your moment in time. No one else sees the same rainbow as you. Tonight, picture that gentle curve in the sky. The storm has passed. The clouds are soft and parting, and sunlight filters through, painting the air in arcs of calm. Let each colour pass through you like breath. Let red bring warmth, orange bring comfort, yellow bring peace, green bring grounding, blue bring quiet, and violet bring rest. You are resting now where cloud and sun meet, where colour is born from water, and where the sky smiles, just for you. Clouds are more than decoration, more than shapes drifting overhead. They are part of the Earth's balance, a gentle but vital regulator of our climate. Each cloud does more than cast a shadow or bring the rain. It reflects sunlight, traps warmth, and circulates moisture. It keeps the planet's temperature from rising too fast or falling too far. When sunlight reaches the Earth, some of it is reflected back into space by the tops of clouds, especially bright, thick clouds like cumulus or stratus. This process is called albedo, and it cools the planet softly, like placing a thin sheet over a warm body. At the same time, clouds help hold heat within the atmosphere, particularly at night. Low clouds act like a blanket, trapping the warmth that radiates from the Earth. You may feel the difference on clear nights, when the air chills quickly, without that soft, sky-borne insulation. Clouds also move moisture from place to place, evaporating water from oceans, condensing it over mountains, raining it onto forests, fields, and rivers. They are part of the hydrologic cycle, the carbon cycle, the climate's rhythm, not just passive, but active, shaping the Earth gently, moment by moment. And as the world warms, clouds may change too. Scientists study their patterns, wondering if they will become taller, thinner, brighter, fewer, wondering how their balance will shift, how their soft presence might sway the future. But for now, they continue their quiet work, shading the sun, holding warmth, moving water, soothing the sky. Tonight, picture the planet wrapped in its cloud cover, moving through space like a breathing thing. The clouds above are not just weather, They are part of Earth's heartbeat, and you are part of it too. Let the clouds hold you as they hold warmth and light and memory. Let the world's balance comfort you. Even in sleep, the sky keeps watching. At the end of our journey, we imagine a sky with no clouds, a sky of endless blue, so wide and bare that it almost aches to look at. No texture, no movement, just the open dome of air and light. There is beauty in this, clearness, a purity of colour, a sharpness of sun, a stillness in the space between Earth and stars. But without clouds, we lose something soft. We lose the drifting patterns that calm the eyes. We lose the filtered light that gentles the day. We lose the silvery veils at dusk, the glowing brushstrokes at dawn, the cool shadows that follow us home. A sky without clouds is a sky in silence. And though it is lovely, we find ourselves missing the hush that clouds bring, the way they hold moisture, the way they carry memory, the way they tell time through shifting light. So we return, gratefully, to the world with clouds, with softness, with rhythm, with shade and shimmer, drift and dance. We return to the puff of cumulus, the sweep of cirrus, the silver hush of fog and marine layer. We return to a sky that remembers us, watches us, and rests with us. Tonight, as your journey ends, lie beneath a sky that is not empty, but full of softness, of balance, of presence. And in that sky, let yourself dissolve like mist. There is nothing you need to hold. The clouds will hold it for you. And now you may sleep. And now, as we reach the end of our journey through the soft skies, I hope this brought you a sense of calm, a quiet return to yourself, and a reminder of the beauty drifting above, always in motion, always at peace. May the clouds we wandered through, from towering cumulus to whispered cirrus, from ocean breath to twilight shimmer, stay with you tonight, not as thoughts, but as feelings, a softness in your breath, a gentleness in your body, a quietness settling deep in your chest. If these calm explorations bring you comfort, you are always welcome to subscribe or leave a kind thought below. Only if the mood feels right and the wind is gentle where you are. For now, you have arrived. There is nowhere else to be. Let your body soften. Let your thoughts thin like mist. Let yourself be held by the quiet lull of the clouds. You can rest now. Drift into sleep. The sky is watching over you. Good night. Peaceful dreams. Calm skies to you, always.